All Friday, man. Thank you guys for checking out the channel. I don't do live videos very often, but hey, we're in the last week of the preseason for the NFL in 2024, week 3. Man, Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on the Miami Dolphins later tonight, which is going to be awesome. My brother's at the game, and happy birthday to my brother Trevor Reynolds. Big shout out to you, man, and shout out to everybody who's helped support the channel thus far. It's been really cool. So we're just going to talk some ball with you guys here, just doing a little live video for the channel. Please like and subscribe and leave us some comments and let me know what you guys think of the channel. I'd love to hear you guys' feedback. So some of the big topics going on right now in the NFL is like big contract holdouts that we've been hearing about from all over across camps across the NFL, starting with the Dallas Cowboys, where wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, an all-pro, still has not gotten a contract extension with the Dallas Cowboys, as there's been a lot of drama around this particular contract negotiations, if you will, with wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. I really do think that the Cowboys are fumbling the ball on this one a little bit, if you know what I mean, because I don't think that they are signing the guy that they need to sign to take care of this to avoid any distractions before the actual football season starts. Now, I really do think that they really need to get this guy signed. If CeeDee Lamb is on the team right now, this is one less distraction that this team has heading into the 2024 season. But if they expect to contend, I mean, guys, they're not going to really be a contender in the NFC at all if they don't get CeeDee Lamb signed. Now, all the reports are pointing that this guy should be getting a long-term extension done within the next couple of weeks or before the start of week 1. But you never know with these things, guys, and there's a lot more contract speculation and drama going around the league. And also with the Dallas Cowboys, are they going to sign Dak Prescott? That's a big question too, as that's kind of a contract extension and drama that they've kind of been talking about back and forth in the media a little bit. But I really do think that that's probably an extension that Dak's going to be looking at towards next offseason, because he's going to have all the power in this next negotiation period, Dak Prescott will, as far as his negotiations for a new contract. And he's expected to get upwards of around $60 million per year in whatever contract he would sign, according to reports, on most outlets. We also know we have a lot of drama in San Francisco with a couple of really big holdouts for the San Francisco 49ers, as wide receiver Brandon Ayuk has still not signed a long-term extension with the team, nor has San Francisco agreed to trade the wide receiver to any teams that have actually made some pretty decent offers for the wide receiver. We've actually heard reports that the Pittsburgh Steelers offered a second-round pick, but because they don't have a wide receiver to swap with Brandon Ayuk going to Pittsburgh and the second-round pick going to San Francisco, well, Pittsburgh doesn't have any other wide receivers really that San Francisco could be looking at, in this particular deal or trade if that was to go down. But hey, I just think that this is going to get settled. I mean, there's too many reports right now going on why this won't get settled, because Brandon Ayuk is one of the premier wide receivers in this league. There's no doubt about it. And he helps make that San Francisco 49ers team a Super Bowl contender by being on that squad. So the fact that they haven't gotten this deal done is really a little bit confusing to me, because the San Francisco 49ers are usually one of the best franchises at getting these sort of deals done. At least that's what it feels like to me. Now, there's also another big guy holding out that nobody's talking about, and that's left tackle Trent Williams. This guy is a baller, an all-pro, and even though he's getting up there in age, this guy is holding out for a new contract with San Francisco 49ers, and that's because there's been a lot of offensive linemen that have gotten really good contract extensions this year, and of course, Trent Williams feels like he needs to be one of those top-paid guys, which he ain't lying. He is one of the best offensive linemen, if not the best offensive lineman in all of football. So we have another bunch of really big NFL topics to go over, as we will be talking about none other than the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are in themselves with some quarterback controversy with quarterback Russell Wilson and quarterback Justin Fields going toe-to-toe for the QB1 job. Now, I really do think that Russell Wilson has probably had heads up right now on Justin Fields, but they're supposed to play in the last preseason game, and I guess that's supposed to help be a determining factor on whether or not Justin Fields becomes the starter or it will go to Russell Wilson, the veteran, which I think that's the way they're leaning. If it was me, I definitely would probably go with the veteran, but Justin Fields looks like he might be the best guy for this offense, because that offensive line is not very good right now in Pittsburgh. And there is going to be a lot of struggles early on in the season if they don't get this offensive line figured out. Forget about the quarterback. They got to get the offensive line really going good. They have to play Pittsburgh Steeler football if they want to be able to actually go anywhere in this upcoming season, really. Now, I really do think Russell Wilson has got the pole position, like they've said in the media, on the freaking QB1 job, but it's anybody's job, really. If Justin Fields comes out this week 3 and really balls out, it could be a really, really good game. And then we're also looking at some other news around the NFL with wide receiver Chase there, Jamar Chase for the Cincinnati Bengals. He is holding out for a brand new contract as well. I think that this one is actually a bit of a head scratcher when you think about it, because Jamar Chase has 2 years left on his deal. Now, you would think that he would look for this contract extension this upcoming offseason, but I'm not sure if that's really the way he should play it, because right now, all the cards are really in his hands. And with him holding out and not reporting, that is actually putting more pressure on the Bengals to be able to get him signed to a long-term extension. Now, the guy's earned it. The guy definitely should get a long-term deal done. He's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. But I just think the Cincinnati Bengals have shown us year after year after year that they're not really willing to pay anybody besides, I guess, Joe Burrow, right? They had this fiasco with Chad Johnson. They had this fiasco with Carlson Palmer when they were looking for extensions as well. So they've always been a little stingy there, Cincinnati, on giving out money and helping out people and sort of thing. Hey guys, welcome to the chat. I see we got some people in there. Got my brother Trevor saying hello. Yeah, Dolphins are going to lose, buddy. They best believe that. Hello, Orange Tan. And then we got, I like the Bucks. I'm a Broncos fan. Thank you, Relaxin' Jackson. And we got Walker York. Boy, what's up, man? Welcome to the guys. And then I got Benjamin Wells, a Ravens fan. Hey, welcome to the chat, guys. Yeah, so we got a lot of other NFL topics that are going on right now. Like what's going to happen with a lot of these rookie quarterbacks. We already know that rookie quarterback Caleb Williams is going to be the starter there for Chicago. And then we also found out that for the Washington Commanders, Jalen Daniels is going to be their starter at the beginning of the season against my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which the Buccaneers always seem to struggle a little bit against rookie quarterbacks, but I'm hoping that this time around we're going to be well more prepared, especially being the opening week of the season for my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which, hey, I got to brag about them for a little bit, guys. They've been looking really, really good on defense. This young defense really has been going at the quarterback, getting a lot of sacks. I think we got 5 sacks in the last preseason game that we had. So I really do like the upside, and Todd Bowles has always got these boys really raring to go on the defensive side of the ball. So I'm really excited for that team, especially because everyone's just underestimating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers once again. I mean, this offense to me is going to be a top 15 offense, and I really do think as long as the secondary can be a lot better than it was last year, I really do think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be a top 15 defense as well. And if you're top 15 offense, top 15 defense, that means you're making the playoffs, folks. And I really do think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to be a playoff team in 2024. But seeing some other topics that are going around in the NFL that we're going to talk to you guys about. Another one too is this new kickoff rule. Man, is this causing a lot of controversy, it feels like, with a lot of NFL teams. But I really do think it's bringing a lot of excitement back to the game. I mean, the kickoff was just a little bit boring before, right? It was just a touchback, touchback, touchback. It felt like every single week. Well, now we're actually seeing some very, very competitive football and some very, very competitive special teams play have to go around with these special teams coaches, right? Because, you know, when you're just kicking the ball out of the end zone, really, you don't have to work that hard at who you pick to be on special teams, right? You just have to think, okay, is this team have a returner that's really going to be dangerous that I have to really prepare for when it comes to the kickoff, right? Because most of the time, you're just kicking it through the end zone. Now, reports are saying that they're still going to be doing that across the NFL, which doesn't surprise me in the least bit, but it's going to be really interesting to see how many teams can deploy a really, really good strategy with their special teams to be able to take advantage of this newer play. Because, man, I tell you what, if you can get yourself a speedster like a Tavon Austin, who just retired, you know, hey, good luck in retirement there, guy. If you can get somebody like that, you know, like a Devin Hester who just went into the Hall of Fame, man, yeah, you get a guy that's got some skill back there that can return the football. I really do think that you're looking at a very, very good play here for the NFL. It's a more exciting play. It's going to be awesome, guys. So another big NFL news that we're following today is all the Week 3 3 preseason games, the things we're kind of following so far with certain teams, especially with injuries. We know the Buffalo Bills are dealing with a lot of injuries right now, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and it's really interesting to see how that secondary is going to adapt with losing all those veterans that they already had. There's no more Micah Hyde, there's no more Justin Poyer, and they also got rid of White, who's, I believe, signed with the Los Angeles Rams. So that's going to be an interesting one to see how they're going to do with that. Also, the Minnesota Vikings, they lost their rookie quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, to a big knee injury, and now he's out for the rest of the year. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with that. And the Minnesota Vikings, they just helped out that secondary that's been plagued by injuries thus far. I think they signed, Stephon Gilmore signed a 1-year contract with them, which I think is definitely going to help them, give them a veteran presence, not only in the locker room, but on the field to help out that secondary and that defense for Minnesota. Because that division right now, hey, the NFC North, whoo, that's a stacked division right now, man. That's got to be one of the best divisions in football at the moment right now. The Lions are looking really, really good. Green Bay looks really good and young, especially with all the pieces they have on their defense and their young wide receiving core. That's going to be a really competitive team, and I don't even like to talk about that with the Packers, but hey, you got to give them their due. I mean, Jordan Love proved he's a quarterback that's going to be elite in this league. I mean, I know it's only 1 year, but the guy took out the Dallas Cowboys last year in the playoffs, so that's got to stand for something. You know Chicago is going to be better as well. I mean, Caleb Williams is walking into probably one of the best situations for a rookie quarterback ever. I mean, really, all the playmakers he's got on offense, and that defense played really, really good near the end of last season. The last 4 or 5 games, they really were shutting people down on the defensive side of the ball. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with them and this division, because it looks like the Minnesota Vikings could be at the bottom of the barrel. With Sam Darnold as their starting quarterback now, I know Justin Jefferson and the boys are going to be looking to ball out, but with all the injuries they already have on defense, it's going to be tough, I think, for the Minnesota Vikings to really compete in this tough division. And now you want to talk about divisions? Let's talk about the NFC South, okay? Because there's been a lot of talk lately about the Atlanta Falcons. Really? The Atlanta Falcons, guys? There's a lot more hype around this team now as far as them becoming the NFC South champions in 2024 and making a playoff run. Now, look, I'm not hating on the Falcons, okay? I do think they've improved as a team, especially when you add Kirk Cousins from Desmond Ridder. I mean, that's going to be an upgrade. But all this hype now, like they didn't have a defense really until they signed these 2 veteran guys where they traded for Matthew Judon from the Patriots and then just signed Simmons from free agency to help out to stand next to Jesse Bates. Now, that's going to be a tough tandem there for the safeties. Don't get me wrong. But to think that the Atlanta Falcons have already jumped over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the division, I think is asinine. I really do think it is. I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers deserve to get more credit. I think they are a way, way, way better team than people give them credit for. I do think that these so-called experts don't really see the continuity that this Tampa Bay Buccaneer team is going to have. I really do think that they are going to surprise a lot of people. They could be one of the top teams in the NFC. But as far as the division goes, I do think that the NFC South runs through Tampa Bay. And you're going to have to prove the Atlanta Falcons, the Carolina Panthers, the New Orleans Saints, they're going to have to prove that they're going to be better than the Buccaneers, because the Buccaneers are looking for the first time ever to go to the playoffs 5 straight years. And this is where I get a little bit upset too about Buccaneers fans wanting to fire Todd Bowles. I really do think that that's got to stop, guys, okay? This guy is probably the first Buccaneer coach, I think, in my lifetime to make the playoffs every year that he's actually been the coach. Now, the record is what the record is. I get that. But he's a good coach. He's a good veteran coach, and I do think that there's a lot of people underestimating these Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, got to give credit to some more teams in the division. I do think the Atlanta Falcons got better. I do think the Carolina Panthers got better as well. But as far as the Panthers go, their better is not going to be that much better than last year. Now, are they going to compete for a playoff spot? No, I don't think so. But I do think you should see some improvement from that team overall. And I hope we see some improvement from the young quarterback Bryce Young, too, who should be coming into his own heading into his second season here. And also in New Orleans, it's kind of a little jumblee, if you will. Jambalaya down there like they have in New Orleans, you know? Like, everything seems like they could compete. they could be pretty good, but we've been saying that about the Saints now for like the past 3 or 4 years. The Saints haven't really produced up to the par of where their contracts are or the players that they have on their team, right? Because they have a lot of veterans on the team, and the young guys that they have are studs. I mean, Alvin Kamara, stud. Chris Olave, stud, right? So you got some pieces there. The defense got a little more improved this offseason, but is that really going to help them contend in the division? I mean, I really don't think so. I think right now Atlanta is definitely going to contend with the Bucs, but I do think it's the Bucs division, and I really solidly mean that. We're going to see the Bucs play their starters in this preseason game against the Miami Dolphins tonight for the first time. I think that's going to be really exciting. We also have a lot of exciting games that'll be coming up in the NFL this year. They're playing in Brazil for the first time ever, so that's going to be cool. And also have the opening week of the NFL. We're going to see 4 straight games, pretty much, I think, is how it's going, with Thursday Night Football. Then the Brazil game is on Friday night, and I think they have a game on Saturday, but I'm not too sure. College football will probably mess with that a little bit, I imagine. But we have a big opening slate of games. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Baltimore Ravens are just right around the corner. And, man, there's going to be a lot of really good matchups this upcoming year. Seeing some ones here that I wrote down. We also have 2 trips to London this year. The Jacksonville Jaguars will play 2 games in London again as well. We also will get Netflix will have 2 games on Christmas for the NFL this year, which is going to be really interesting because we've talked about they've talked about in the media, all of these platforms that you have to really go on in order to like actually get all the NFL games throughout the whole season, which is definitely making a lot of confusion with fans and whatnot. But I think it's going to be really exciting to see the broadcast and how they do it there on Netflix for the Christmas games, because Netflix has got a lot of money, folks, okay? They've already got WWE's Monday Night Raw starting next year, which is going to be really good. But I really do think that Netflix getting into the football game with the NFL they're going to mash pretty good, I think so. Oh, I got Ian on. What's up, buddy? Hey, thanks for checking out the channel, man. Appreciate everybody coming on. Oh, man, yeah, so Netflix getting into the football game is definitely going to be really good for the NFL. I mean, money's just coming into the NFL right now, so it's going to be very cool to see no matter what games they end up having on Christmas Day going forward. But hey, it's going to be really fun to see. We also got some big news coming out this week from the Cleveland Browns camp, who have been dealing with a lot of injuries again. Their starting quarterback, Denzel Ward, got another concussion, so he's on the injury report again. But then also another weird injury report from quarterback Deshaun Watson, who was put on the injury report this week because of arm soreness. Now, of course, I had to read into this a little bit more because I kind of root for the Browns a little bit. They've always been an underdog team, just kind of like my Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I tend to follow them a little bit. And it was really just weird to see them putting him on the injury report like that. I thought was kind of vague. Like maybe there was just something else to it other than that, right? But actually there wasn't. As it turns out, looking back at what the actual surgery was for his injury, it's a pretty massive shoulder injury, and it's a pretty massive surgery that he's got to come back from. So that's going to be really interesting to see going forward. Is Deshaun Watson going to be able to stay healthy the whole year? When's Nick Chubb going to come back, right? I don't think he's going to start the season right off week 1 being fully healthy, so he'll probably start the season on the PUP list. And yeah, you got you got Jameson, right? You got Jameis Winston there as the backup for Cleveland. So that should help them, I guess, if anything does happen with Deshaun Watson. But it just really sucks, man. They've been hit by injuries really bad this year, the Cleveland Browns. And I think this is just really sad to see. I know Deshaun Watson was an elite quarterback back in the day, but right now he's not looking like it. He's not sounding like it. And that's really the tough part, I think, for NFL fans when you really think about it. I mean, Deshaun Watson was pretty elite. I mean, he was one of the best guys in the whole entire league, in my opinion, back when he was playing really good with the Texans. And now you just don't really see that anymore, right? So other big news going on right now in the NFL, wide receiver Zay Jones of the Arizona Cardinals has been suspended by the NFL. Getting some details here. I guess in violation of the NFL's conduct policy, he's going to be missing, let me see here. How many games is he going to be missing? Yeah, signed a 1-year deal. And it says he'll miss the first 4 games of the year. So that's the first 5 games of the year. So that's really going to be tough there for the Arizona Cardinals, who are trying to rebuild there. Kyler Murray coming off that injury, hopefully to get some momentum back up, right? But also some big signees that we had earlier this week. The Chiefs give center All-Pro Humphrey a new extension that makes him the highest paid center in the NFL. It's a $72 million deal with just over $50 million guaranteed, I believe. And then also the Philadelphia Eagles make another kind of surprising move with the Washington Commanders, trading for their former first-round pick wide receiver Josh Dotson, trading a couple of draft picks also with him back and forth. But now, like, the Philadelphia Eagles are stacked at the wide receiver position. I mean, stacked. We got Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, and now you're going to have Deshaun Dotson in the slot as their third wide receiver. This is going to be really, really good for them. The Eagles are going to be a threat this year. I really do think them, San Francisco, are going to be some of the top teams there in the NFC. And then there's a lot of mid-tier teams, right? I know Philly had the collapse they did last year. The Bucs beat them in the playoffs, which was an awesome game to watch. But I really do think that they should be, at least on paper, a very, very good and contending team this year in the NFL in 2024. And if not, I mean, their head coach is going to be gone. You know, Philadelphia Eagles fans and the ownership, they don't wait very long. Excuse me. If they're not doing good, they're not going to keep you around. They're really not. So some also reactions going from the preseason week 3 thus far. We had the Colts versus the Cincinnati Bengals last night, and my Florida boy from the University of Florida, Josh Richardson, man. Richardson didn't look so well. He struggled a little bit, threw a pick 6 and overthrew, a couple of guys, not going to lie. It didn't really look all that great, to be honest with you. But with that said, you know, you kind of have to take that with a grain of salt and hope that they get better from it, right? So, other things to look forward to, right, in the NFL, going back to the Bucs and Dolphins game, right, the Dolphins are still looking for a backup quarterback, guys. Skylar Thompson and Mike White have not really looked really good this preseason thus far, or at least how you would expect them to look, right? So it's kind of a toss-up, I guess, at this point, who's going to make that backup quarterback job there for the Miami Dolphins. And it's also a big question mark for me, who kind of follows and watches the Dolphins, because my brother's a huge fan, my uncle's a huge fan, my mom's a huge Dolphins fan as well. Their defensive line's really beat up. They got a lot of guys that are going to probably start the season on the PUP list or on the injured list, right? And it's going to be really interesting, especially with Vic Fangio no longer being the defensive coordinator. Is this going to help them, you know, be a better defense or not be a better defense? I'm not too sure. Here we got Lions Super Bowl 2024. We're going to kick your butt in week 2. Hey, look, man, that's going to be one of the best games of the year. The Lions taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Detroit. Whew, I really wish I could go see that game. I actually looked at tickets. Man, it was like $300 a pop. So no way your boy Tim on Tim Reynolds Show is going to be able to go see that one. But hey, you know, it is what it is, right? Man, it's going to be a really good game, though, that one there. So other things that we're seeing here, the New England Patriots, they are still looking at a possible quarterback conundrum here, or quarterback competition, I should say, because rookie Drake May has really been playing well with New England's second team and third team offense there for the most part. And Jacoby Brissett hasn't looked so well with the first team in the short amount of reps that he's had. So could this week 3 really mean a difference for Drake May if he's able to play just as good, if not better? Will he be able to get the starting job there in New England? I mean, it's not going to be long before he gets the job, in my opinion, because I don't really expect New England to be a very competitive team this year because they have such a tough schedule, especially starting out the season. You could easily see them with only 1 win in the first 6 or 7 weeks, maybe 2 wins. And if that's the case, you're probably going to go to the rookie quarterback anyways because your season's practically over when you're at 5 or 6 losses, you know, that early in the season. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with that one as well. Another rookie quarterback situation that I called this during the NFL draft. Bo Nix has been named the starter for the Denver Broncos by head coach Sean Payton. And you guys know Sean Payton was in love with this guy the moment he freaking scouted him, because Denver Broncos let him fall right to his lap, Bo Nix fell right into their lap. And they even said it so. Sean Payton did in an interview where he was actually trying to, I believe it was, distract the Raiders or another team from like getting him. And of course, they didn't have to move up or move back or anything. Bo Nix just fell right to where they were at. And now I really do believe that Bo Nix is a possible Rookie of the Year candidate. He's already going to be playing from week 1, and it's going to be down to him, Caleb Williams, and Jaden Daniels, because they're all going to be starters on that team. And right now, I know Caleb Williams is probably the guy at the top of that list because he's got a lot of playmakers on that team, so he should be really good. He should put up really, really good numbers this year. But Bo Nix is going to tear up defenses. And he's going to have way more opportunity as well, because I think that Denver's going to be behind in a lot of games. So because they're behind in a lot of games this year, you're going to see Bo Nix, I think, put up a lot of big numbers. It's going to be really awesome to see, I think. And I'm really excited to see a lot of these rookie quarterbacks this year, man. We have a lot of them this year. 3 that are going to be at least starting, with the possibility of 4 with Drake May there. And if J.J. McCarthy didn't get hurt, we could see 5 rookie starting quarterbacks this year, you know? And of course, with all the injuries that end up happening with the quarterback position anyways, this is sort of like, you know, one of those things that you're going to, you know, see no matter what, right? As the league starts to develop these guys and they come into the league way more ready to be able to like really, really do good, I think you guys are going to see more of these guys step up and be starting really early in the season, no matter what. So go to the New York Jets here. Really interesting to see how Aaron Rodgers is going to do coming off of that Achilles injury last year. That was so sad, man. I'm not sitting here and saying that I'm a big Jets fan by any means, but I love watching Aaron Rodgers. The guy's been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL for a long, long time, and I think there's a lot of people that are doubting him right now, which I don't think people should be doing. I really do think that you underestimate this guy, and he proves people wrong every single time. I really do. It would not surprise me one bit whatsoever if he ends up being, you know, like one of the top quarterbacks this year. He may even be an MVP candidate, right? I'm sure he'll be on the comeback player of the list, you know, comeback player of the list award, for that award at least. But right now, there's other questions for the Jets, like Hassan Reddick. Why did they trade for this guy if they weren't going to pay him? He's a premier pass rusher. Now, I'm not going to sit here and talk about the numbers like this guy's a top 5 or top 10 pass rusher in the league. No. But the guy's put up numbers. The guy has put up sack numbers and has proven to a lot of people that he is worth the contract that he's asking for. Now, the numbers haven't really came out on what exactly he's looking for in a contract, but as soon as he sent a trade request, the GM there for the Jets came back almost immediately saying, we're not trading him, which I just really do think the Jets are fumbling the ball on this one just a little bit. I mean, come on, guys. You got a chance at possibly being Super Bowl contenders here. Don't screw it up, right? That's pretty much the only thing you have to do. Don't screw it up, right? So heading over to AFC North, how about the Baltimore Ravens, right? Ravens, number 1 seed last year, lost to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC championship game. I mean, guys, Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP, he's not the problem. The problem has always been the wide receiving core and then them coming up clutch in the playoffs, right? I mean, maybe we could say Lamar Jackson's not clutch. I wouldn't say that, but they haven't really been big in the big moments, if you will. Is that going to change? You know, Harbaugh is one of the best coaches in the NFL. He has proven that year in and year out with all the guys he has on his squad. He coaches them up really, really good. And I think the Ravens are going to be contenders again this year. You can't sleep on them, you know? I really do think that they're going to be one of the teams to be reckoned with, one of the top seeds in the AFC. But are they going to be able to get over that hump? Are they going to be able to beat Cincinnati Bengals in their own division? Are they going to be able to beat the Kansas City Chiefs and contend with them as well? And the AFC is stacked this year, you know? It's going to be really tough. I mean, the Houston Texans look like they're going to be one of the top teams this year in the league. So, really, Ravens, you got to step your game up. And I really do think it's going to depend on that wide receiver's position. The wide receivers for them, they haven't been able to step up, man. And if he could get him, even maybe at the trade deadline, a really good all-pro type receiver, I think the Baltimore Ravens would be Super Bowl contenders without a doubt. Now, they still are. They still are Super Bowl contenders with the roster they have. But let's say Brandon Ayuk, for instance, is out there, right? He's been kind of shopped around or whatnot. I haven't heard any reports about Baltimore trying to get him. That, to me, was a little concerning. Like, you have a chance at getting a guy like Brandon Ayuk. I think for the Baltimore Ravens, you go after that guy. You literally see what offers you can make, right? You got to do that. I really do think. But we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that team, right? So let's go to the AFC South. Like I said about the Texans earlier, they're definitely going to be a team to reckon with. They are just stacked, it seems like, on every position. And their defense is going to be really, really, really good. I'm thinking a top 5 defense for this team and an easily probably a top 10 offense for the Houston Texans with all the pieces that they have. Adding Joe Mixon, adding Stephon Diggs, and they're stacked at wide receiver. They go at least 3-4 deep at wide receiver. And you can't forget about Dalton Schultz, who's definitely one of the best patch-catching tight ends in all of football right now. So you can't count these guys out. But their defense, though, adding Hunter, as definitely he's been a guy getting double-digit sacks every single year. And they're young. The Stinley Jr. is one of the top corners in the league right now. Man, they're definitely going to be run to reckon with because DeMeco Ryans always seems to have these boys prepared and ready to go for these games, guys. I am telling you, watch out for the Houston Texans this year. They're definitely going to be one to reckon with. Now, Indianapolis Colts. This one's going to be a little bit of a toss-up. I love rooting for the Colts, especially since Peyton Manning and Tony Dungy were there. You know, Tony Dungy, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach and legend. I'm really happy that he went and won a Super Bowl there for the Indianapolis Colts. Let's see, at everything. I'm going to the game right now. Oh, awesome, man. Tune in. I'm going to the Buccaneers game right now. That's awesome, man. Hey, enjoy that Buccaneers preseason game, guys. Taking on the Miami Dolphins. Woo! It's going to be everyone. Nobody touching the Chiefs. Hey, look, the Chiefs look dangerous right now, man. I'm not going to lie. And that's what I was kind of mentioning there with the Indianapolis Colts. They beat the Chiefs last year, okay? And they looked like they could have been a contending team, but with Richardson getting injured, of course, the Colts didn't end up being anything really special last year. Now, the reports coming out of camp for the Colts, though, is that they're going to be probably a run-first offense and not really have a lot of playmakers on the outside for them to be able to compete in the tough division. I mean, the Jaguars should be really, really good. Tennessee Titans, I mean, we'll get to these teams later and how they're going to be, but the Colts look like they're going to be at the bottom of their own division. Really struggling hard, I think, to be able to compete with these other guys. And it's really all up to how the quarterback Richardson's going to do. You know, he's a Florida guy, so I root for him a lot. But whether or not he's going to be able to improve off of last year or stay healthy is definitely the questions we have to wait to be seen and answered this upcoming year. Now, Tennessee Titans, a lot of changes for the Titans, right? A lot of changes heading into the new year. How are they really going to do with all of these new pieces? But they have a lot of veteran leadership with a lot of the new pieces that they added. Adding Tony Pollard, L'Jarius Sneed, Calvin Ridley, Jamal Adams, Quadron Diggs too. These are all veteran guys that have proven themselves in the league. And I really do think that they're helping themselves out with that. But is that going to make them top contenders in this division? I don't think so. I don't think that they're going to end up being really good contenders. I don't know if they're going to be able to be a playoff team. It's going to be kind of a learning experience with them, which who I feel really bad for is DeAndre Hopkins, because Hopkins, when he gets into the playoffs, is almost always balling out. But he really hasn't been able to get into the playoffs lately, you know? So that's what's going to be interesting about them. I think they're going to have a tough year as far as the Tennessee Titans go. Let's see. We got some more comments here in the chat. So did the Raiders. Texans' biggest threat to KC. The Chiefs' defense will handle that in the playoffs. Hey, that's really not a bad way to think about it, guys. Right now, I think Kansas City, they definitely got better on their offensive side of the ball. They got one of the best offensive lines in all of football, so you know that they're going to be a team to reckon with in the playoffs no matter who they're facing. But the Texans stack up with them really, really well because the Texans defense could definitely go toe-to-toe with that offense, and CJ Stroud and the boys could definitely get things hot and going, but Kansas City's got a tough defense as well. So that would be a really interesting matchup for them. Now, going to the AFC West, guys, talking about those Denver Broncos, they're going to struggle this year. I think they're probably going to be one of the bottom barrel type teams, but I think you're going to see a lot of amazing, really, really good things out of their rookie quarterback, Bo Nix. This guy, I'm telling you, with all the experience he has, he is going to be one heck of a quarterback in the NFL and probably one of the best rookie quarterbacks this year. I'm actually willing to say that he may be able to give Caleb Williams a run for his money and Jaden Daniels in the Rookie of the Year voting this year. I really do think so. Watch out for that. And then Kansas City, all they really got to do is avoid injuries. They have really good depth on every single position, really, but once you start hitting that injury bug, it starts becoming harder and harder for them to be able to compete and get that third championship in a row. Now, we all seen when they faced the Bucs in the 2020 Super Bowl, for the 2020 season, the 2021 Super Bowl, if you will, in Tampa there, the injuries are the reason why the Bucs were able to take advantage of them and really stomp down the team and keep it from being a close game. Now, I still think the Bucs would have won no matter what, but that's what they're trying to avoid. The Kansas City Chiefs this year are trying to just avoid injuries and be able to hopefully get a three-peat. Hey, I'm not going to bet against Patrick Mahomes. I will tell you that. Now, a team that's definitely going to surprise a lot of people too, just like my Buccaneers, is the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, I think Allegiant Stadium, you boys need to calm down a little bit with all your little pirate and Raider stuff there, okay? These are the Pirates, okay? These are the Buccaneers, okay? Buccaneers, Raiders, I get it, but we also got to remember, first Super Bowl for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we destroyed the Raiders, right? So you guys need to tone down a little bit on your little pirate things there, your little pirate video things there in the stadium, okay? But with that said, I like their team. Their defense is going to be really, really good with Antonio Pierce at the helm as head coach. Max Crosby, I think he's going to be the defensive player of the year. I really do think that this badass redhead is going to really show up and tear off really just a lot of sacks this year. I think he's really going to come off the line fast and really get a lot of sacks this year. He may be able to get 15 plus sacks this year, I think. That's probably very easy for him. And then we have Gardner Minshew Mania coming back there to Las Vegas, and I think that that's going to be a really big help for them. Better than the rookie O'Connell was last year, I believe. Now, O'Connell did give him a little run for his money from reports that we've heard, from camp so far. I really do think that that's the case, but he wasn't able to beat him out. So it's Minshew Mania time there for the Vegas fans. And I don't know. This is definitely one of those teams that are probably going to be mid-tier, maybe right around 500 if I had to guess as far as what their record's going to be. But then we have the Los Angeles Chargers, right? Woo! Freaking Harbaugh is back doing Harbaugh football after he won a national championship for the Michigan Wolverines. And man, this Justin Herbert injury, though, it's a foot injury. Excuse me, plantar fasciitis type injury. It's going to be really, really bad for him, man. I do think this is going to be a struggle for their team because without Herbert, they don't really have anything, guys. They need Justin Herbert to be able to compete in this division, right? Defense is going to look good with Joey Bosa and Mack. You got probably 1-2 punch right there on the defensive line. Secondary was suspect last year. Really, really not that good. What's up, Trucker John? Thanks for hanging out, man. Thanks for the comment. Their secondary, the Chargers secondary, was really, really tough last year. And I think the same thing is going to happen this year. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to compete all that much in this division with how bad I think their secondary is going to be for the most part. Now, getting to the NFC East, this one's a little tough. I think maybe it's going to be the Eagles division. They look like the best overall team, especially with all the moves that they've made this offseason. I mean, not only from the coordinators, but signing Saquon Barkley. I still think that that's probably like one of the best signings this whole offseason during free agency period. So they're going to be on a whole nother level. Now, they are missing some pieces with center Jason Kelsey retiring, and then also they got Fletcher Cox also retired there on the defensive line, but Brandon Graham does come back for another year. So, excuse me. They did sign former Buccaneers linebacker Devin White, so that should be an improvement for them at the linebacker position, which they definitely were looking for a lot of improvement from that since last week. But then you have the Cowboys. I mean, and they got to get CeeDee Lamb signed first off, and that hasn't happened yet. So the Dallas Cowboys are not contenders until they sign CeeDee Lamb, and then they just really have to stay healthy. They don't have much depth at really any position. If they lose a couple of really good defensive pieces, or, you know, Dak Prescott goes down with an injury, or CeeDee Lamb, like, they don't have depth behind those guys, and those are all pro guys. So if they're able to stay healthy, Dallas Cowboys could compete. I really do think they could compete this year. But it's the Eagles division. I really do think that, because the Giants and the Commanders, they're not going to do a whole lot this year. I think Jalen Daniels is really going to be very, very good for the Washington Commanders. Maybe make them better than a little bit of the Giants, but the Giants are going to struggle too, because I don't think Daniel Jones is the guy. When you lose Saquon Barkley, you can't replace him, and I don't think anyone in that backfield is really going to be able to, like, do much of anything, you know what I mean? So it's going to be tough. See, we got another comment here from Trucker John. Be sure to check out my boy Trucker John's YouTube as well. I'm always checking out him as he's streaming usually live stuff in real life and also video games all the time. He's always really good to respond, so check out his channel as well. Ravens will take it. Zay Flowers and Bateman will make names for themselves this year. Now, hey, look, I don't disagree with you. Zay Flowers is a dog. I like him. He's going to show everybody that he's one of the next, like, premier slot guys, like possession type receivers, especially with his small size and how quick and fast he is. He's sort of like a Tyreek Hill, a younger Tyreek Hill, if you will. But I got no faith in Bateman. I'll tell you right now, you have a lot of splashes there with Bateman now and then. Like, I think he was lucky to get an extension with them first off, so he's got some time here still with this season, and I think another season after this that he's still signed over to prove to them. But injuries have plagued him, so I guess you could say that if you want to, but Bateman hasn't really shown me anything that says he's going to be taking this Ravens team to the next level. Okay, we're talking about, you know, they were already number one seed multiple times in the last few years, the Baltimore Ravens we're talking about now, and they haven't really lived up to expectations. They've really fumbled the ball, if you will, in the playoffs, and I think a lot of that's because Lamar Jackson's trying to be Superman, and you've seen that especially last year against the Chiefs. They stopped running the football. They should have just kept running the football down the Chiefs' throats. They should have. Kansas City couldn't stop the run against Baltimore in that playoff game. But they kept trying to throw the ball like Lamar Jackson was Patrick Mahomes. Lamar Jackson's not Patrick Mahomes. He's a good pass thrower. I'm not saying that he isn't. But the Ravens cannot put everything on his shoulders, okay? Unless he's going to be able to run the football a lot, which they don't want him to do anyways, you can't put it on his shoulders. So you got to keep the run game going, which the Ravens are always going to be good in the run game. I don't doubt that. They're always going to have a tough defense. Them and the Pittsburgh Steelers, man, they always are going to be tough on defense. But I don't trust anybody at wide receiver for them except for Zay Flowers. I will give Zay Flowers his flowers because he is really, really good. He'll probably be a Pro Bowler this year. And then Mark Andrews, the tight end, hopefully comes back fully healthy. Mark Andrews, he's one of the best tight ends in the league when he's healthy. So if he comes back fully healthy, they're going to be contenders no matter what. Super Bowl contenders, I just don't know if they're going to be able to get over the top without having another guy. Like Zay Flowers to me is kind of a number two, a really, really good number two, and they just don't have a number one right now. If they were, like I said earlier, John, Trucker John, I don't know if you've seen, I said if they would have gotten to the Brandon Ayuk sweepstakes, they would have been way better off. If they would have went for Brandon Ayuk and that guy was on that team right now, they are definitely looking toe-to-toe there with the Chiefs and all the NFL against all teams, really. The Ravens would. But yeah, going back here, guys, we just finished with the NFC East. Now we're going on to the NFC North. We did talk about them, though, a little bit earlier in the show. So we'll move on. Again, NFC South, talked about them already earlier in the show. And now the NFC West. Now, this one's going to be tough because, really, there's a lot of teams that could go left or right, I think, in this sort of division, right? San Francisco 49ers are going to run the division more than likely. I do think that they are a Super Bowl contending team. Are they going to continue to be a Super Bowl contending team? We'll have to see. You got to get the Brandon Ayuk thing situated. You got to get the Trent Williams thing situated, which I don't know why they're waiting so long to get that, but I do believe the Trent Williams thing will get taken care of. The Brandon Ayuk thing, your guess is as good as mine, okay? At this point, who knows what's going to happen, okay? Arizona Cardinals, bottom tier again. I'm not sure how good they're going to do, but Marvin Harrison Jr., that guy's going to be a stud at wide receiver for them. I really do think you're going to see Jamal Murray really take a step forward with that team and be able to show that they could compete. and be one of the best teams in that division. But I just don't see them getting a lot of wins this year. Seattle Seahawks, very optimistic about them. Defense could be really, really good this year with Mike Macdonald as their new head coach. But are they going to have the offensive power to be able to compete in this division? I don't. I really do think that even if they split all these other teams in the division, they're probably not going to have a winning record this year or be able to make it into the playoffs. But hey, you never really know with the NFL. Anything can happen. But the Rams now, they look really, really good. They're young on defense. That surprised everybody last year. They have a lot of really good pieces on their offense, and you can't ever count out Matthew Stafford or them boys Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua. Those guys are going to be really, really good. They're going to compete their asses off. You really, really know that. And for the most part, you know, can they compete to get hopefully a division title? I mean, you would think that they could. It's just a question or not whether it's going to happen, not going to happen. You know, that's the question. And them making the playoffs last year was a bit of a surprise, I think, to a lot of teams. I don't think a lot of teams expected them to be able to really make the playoffs last year. So they already surprised a lot of people. Now, whether or not they're able to still continue to do that, that is the question at hand. And man, this upcoming season is going to be crazy for them, guys. I mean, the Rams look like they could really be competitors, but also look like, you know, they might fizzle out and not really compete at all. But yeah, now we'll get to guys who's some college football. College football this weekend starts with week 0. We got Florida State opening up the season, number 10th ranked Florida State Seminoles, taking on Georgia Tech University. This Georgia Tech team always seems to play the Seminoles tough, so this should be a really, really good game starting at the top of the afternoon at 12 o'clock tomorrow. That'll be right after College Game Day, which if you guys haven't heard, WWE superstar Sheamus is going to be the guest picker for the ESPN College Game Day crew. And he is actually from Dublin, Ireland, where College Game Day will be this weekend, because that's where this game is taking place. The Florida State University will take on Georgia Tech University in Dublin, Ireland. So that should be a really, really good matchup of ACC foes there. We also got Montana State taking on the University of New Mexico, the Lobos. We also have SMU. They're taking on the University of Nevada in their first game as part of the ACC after SMU joined them last year. That's definitely going to probably be a game to watch out on. You know, SMU has a really high-powered offense for the most part, or I think will this year for them. So they're going to be a team to watch out for in the ACC, the SMU Mustangs. And then we also have Delaware State traveling all the way to beautiful Hawaii to take on the University of Hawaii, the Rainbow Warriors there. This one's going to be really tough because we actually heard some reports that Delaware State was having some traveling issues, hopefully trying to get to the stadium on time, I believe, for the game and whatnot. But those are your opening sort of college football matchups for week 0. Only 4 matchups to really go over. There's going to be a lot more of college football next weekend. I mean, just looking at the slate here, man, there's going to be a stacked lineup of games to watch on Thursday night. And you're also going to have 3 games on, or let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 games on Friday for prime time. Wow. Some really, really good matchups next week for week 1 of the college football season. Woo! Guys, I am telling you, we're definitely going to have to go over a lot of that. I mean, I'll be reviewing a lot of games too on next Football Friday if we end up on the channel. So it should be really, really good to see what happens there. I mean, college football this upcoming year in 2024, you got the college football playoffs expanding to 12 games. It's going to be really, really good, you know, for all the teams looking to compete for the national titles. I mean, and they're already talking about expanding it to possibly 14 teams in just a couple of years. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see for the most part. I'm really excited about it. See, we got some more comments here, guys. Got Dave Y. Cobra. Hi. Thank you, man. Or Dark Y. Cobra. Thanks for coming in, guys. And Carl Thomas. How y'all going to beat the Falcons? Well, Carl, before the Falcons added 2 veteran guys recently, it was just going to be our offense was just going to maul all over that defense that you guys have, because there's not really a lot there defense. But now you guys adding the veteran guys there, it should help you guys compete a little bit. Now, as far as how we're going to beat the Falcons, I'm not going to tell you exactly how, because that's all speculation, right? Anything could happen in an NFL game. But I wouldn't be willing to bet my paycheck or my house or anything really sort of valuable on Kirk Cousins in primetime. Okay? Kirk Cousins hasn't done really anything in primetime. Ever since his "you like that" game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, what has he done? Has he even won a playoff game? I think maybe one playoff game, if that. I think he's been to the playoffs, Kirk Cousins I'm talking about here, 3, maybe 4 times in his career. It's probably 3 if I had to say that. So the fact that Atlanta Falcons fans were willing to say, hey, we're going to pay Kirk Cousins all this money, and he's the one who's going to go win us the Super Bowl, that's where I think Atlanta Falcons are wrong. And that's where I think we're going to beat them. Because you put your faith into Kirk Cousins, it usually doesn't end up too well for them. Now, this is coming from a team who has Baker Mayfield as his starting quarterback. But Baker Mayfield has proved a lot of people wrong, that he can definitely be a competitor. And on top of that, you tell me the last guy that would be able to win a playoff game for the franchises of the Cleveland Browns and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's historic on any level. No, I don't care what anybody says. So, Falcons fans, best of luck this year to you guys. I love Kyle Pitts. He's a University of Florida guy, a Gator for life. Love him. Drake London, definitely one of the best up-and-coming wide receivers in the league this year. Bijan Robinson, whew, that boy's going to probably be a beast in fantasy. But you're also hearing, speaking of fantasy, you're also hearing reports that I guess Algier is supposed to be getting more work, especially at the goal line, which means he's going to take away points from Bijan Robinson for fantasy owners. So that's tough as well. So that's just to answer your question there, Carl. That's how I think we're going to beat the Falcons, man. It ain't going to be much really to look over. You know, I'm not saying they're going to be terrible by any means. They have a very easy schedule this year, so they should be able to compete, but who knows, right? Now, as far as the other topics going on right now in the NFL, we're just going ahead and just seeing, you know, maybe what's some good ones to mention here. Going forward, or something maybe to look forward to as we look around the corner here with the season starting just a few weeks away, guys. So it's going to be really, really good. But looks like that's about it, guys. You know, this has been Tim Reynolds Show with the Football Friday. Thank you, everybody, for checking out the show. I appreciate it. Man, we got 10 likes on the channel. This has been awesome. I appreciate everybody commenting. If you have any more comments, please leave them. I'll get back to you guys. And I really do appreciate all the support. Any football questions you guys have, I love talking about those and going back and forth with the debate with all those. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are taking on the Miami Dolphins on their 3rd preseason game tonight. I ain't going to be able to watch it, unfortunately, but I will be checking out highlights and that sort of deal as well. I just wanted to hop on here to do my first live in a really, really long time. Just me by myself talking football with you guys on this fabulous Football Friday. So please like and subscribe to the channel for more football content and sports entertainment right here on the Tim Reynolds Show. Thank you, everybody. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the support. This is my dream. I'm trying to live out that dream and accomplish it. I had this dream since I was a kid of just being a YouTuber, talking sports, talking football, talking WWE wrestling with you guys. You know, me being a wrestler in high school, always being a big fan of the WWE, being a big football fan for college football and the NFL. My whole life, this is all I wanted to do is talk ball, and this is what I love doing, and I hope I keep doing it for you guys. I can't believe I made it to 200 subscribers, so shout out to everybody who's really helped me along the way, and let's keep it going, guys. Here's to the next 200. Heck, here's to the next 2,000 subscribers, guys. Let's get there, man. Help me out. Subscribe to the channel. Let's get there, man, and let's help make dreams come true like this one, man. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much out there, and enjoy some football this weekend, everybody. Week 3 of the NFL preseason with the NFL regular season week 1 just a few weeks away. And don't forget to check out Tim Reynolds Show for more WWE content like my WWE show review of Monday Night Football, or of Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown. And also don't forget to check out the channel for more football content and football coverage coverage that you'll get throughout the season right here on Tim Reynolds Show. Peace out, everybody. Have a great day, and thank you again for all the support.